God doesn't look at how much you give. He looks at how much it costs you to give. Picture this with me. We're in Jerusalem on Herod's Temple Mount, inside the court of women, with Jesus and his disciples. Jesus has just given a masterful message rebuking the religious leaders. A line is forming. 13 trumpet-shaped receptacles line the wall. Each of these has an engraving of what type of tithe and offering should go into that receptacle. The receptacles lead to individual boxes where the offerings are kept. A priest is standing in front of these boxes, receiving the gifts and showing others where to place their offerings. A widow walks into the room. We can tell she's a widow because a man does not accompany her to the temple, and she is dressed in ratty old garments. She looks nervous as she awaits her turn. She reaches into her pocket, rubbing her 2 small copper coins together, trying to decide if she should give one or both. They were the smallest coins in circulation. She is nervous because one after the other, they place their large offerings in the temple treasury. She can hear the clanging of gold and silver coins as they fall from the hand of the giver. What will the priest think of her tiny gift? How can her gift compare to the large offerings the rich were giving? She could just step out of line. No one would notice her slip through the crowd and leave the temple. After all, no one noticed her come in, did they? Jesus noticed her, and he watches as she makes her way to the priest, whispers the amount that she has in his ear. He watches as the priest gives her a disgusting look. The sound of her 2 copper coins fall into the treasury is drowned out by the roar of people talking amongst themselves. Maybe she did not want to be noticed. But Jesus not only noticed her, he uses her as a positive teaching example for his disciples, knowing that he had only just a few short days left until he would be crucified. Let's read this story together, shall we? Turn to Mark chapter 12, verses 41 to 44. That's Mark chapter 12, verses 41 to 44. It says, Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all that she had to live on." She did not have to give. The widow gave a free will offering. This was not her tithe, something she had to pay. It was a gift. She had 2 coins. She could have given one and kept the other, but she didn't. She gave them both. She could have thought, "I'm a widow. It's the synagogue's job to take care of me, not my job to take care of them." She could have thought, "Who knows what the religious leaders will do with my money?" Come on, how many of us have used that same excuse to keep us from giving? She could have thought, "God doesn't need my money. He's the God of all creation. How will 2 small copper coins further his kingdom?" But she gave, out of her poverty, all that she had, with no promise to get anything in return. Without knowing where the money would come from for her next meal, she gave. And Jesus said she gave more than those who put in much larger amounts than she did. Jesus said she gave more than the rich. Verse 43 says that Jesus, calling his disciples to him, said, "I tell you the truth. This poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others." Jesus makes sure that they know he's not being sarcastic or joking by inserting the phrase, "I tell you the truth." He is being completely serious when he tells them that she gave more. But how could this possibly be? Because kingdom giving is about giving sacrificially. God does not look at the amount, but rather the proportion of what is given to what is kept. God delights more in this widow's small 2 coins than he does in any of the offerings made by the rich, because of what it cost her. Did you know that God delights more in a $5 offering of a broke college student than he does a $1,000 offering given by a millionaire? Why? Because God knows that it will cost the college student maybe a trip to McDonald's or a cup of coffee with his friends, and he knows that it will cost the millionaire nothing. God looks at how much the gift costs the giver. So I leave you with this challenge. Next time you're in a position to give, ask, how much will this cost me? If it doesn't cost you much, try to give a little more till you can feel it cost you something. Give sacrificially. Expect nothing in return, and ask, how much will this cost me?